What's up, guys? It's the Game Bro coming at you with an F1 review, this time only a day late. Hope you guys enjoyed the week off. Coming off the events of the much talked about Italian GP, how would the build up to Sochi be? Well, after the 3-place grid penalty for massy reasons, it was announced that Max Verstappen would add a new engine to the pool and start from the rear, as well as Leclerc taking a new updated spec ERS component. Side note, the morning of the race, it was announced that Bottas would take another new power unit and join them at the rear, plus Nicholas Latifi. Is this a reliability concern or a strategy tactic to make Verstappen's life harder? We'll never know, but it seems like a strategy move after they had to change one in Italy. Anyway, we come to Sochi for the Russian GP, with rain and colder temps in the forecast, so there's some potential hope for a good race instead of the usual Mercedes snoozer. Joining Will Buxton on the warm-up is hometown hero, the torpedo himself, Danny Kvyat, to at least keep things interesting, being that we're here stuck with the Purple Sector guy instead of another Brundleless GP, so let's get into the action with Friday's FP1. Starting the action off on a dry, sunny track, lockups at turn 2 forcing a few through the styrofoam bollards caught some attention. The Ferrari of Leclerc had some teething issues with new components, as well as a spin by rival Norris coming back to the pits. The session would see Bottas at a track he runs well at and have his most recent win ahead of Hamilton and Verstappen, with the Ferraris looking good out of the box. Great lap 2 by Vettel in P5. As it was rumored that rain would interrupt the Saturday proceedings, maybe even forcing a Sunday morning qualifying like Japan 2019, Paulie Sims would be seen on the latter Friday session. Giovinazzi would bring out the red flag, backing the Alfa into the barriers exiting turn 8. Leclerc would do a similar maneuver but not find contact soon after. Hamilton would have another magic button issue like Baku, coming into the pits and hitting his jackman but no injury. Pierre Gasly would lose a front wing after running over the turn 2 sausage curb and be forced to the garage, with the session coming to a close. As it did, Bottas again would lead in P1 ahead of Hamilton and the wingless Gasly, with both Alpines being on the top half of the timing sheets. Along with some support sessions and races cancelled, FP3 wouldn't happen, but we would still get quali on Saturday to set the field. In Q1, Max would pretty much go out for an install lap, box, because there was no real need to risk anything. Giovinazzi would spin off at turn 16, nearly collecting Leclerc, also already starting from the rear. No real surprise at the end of the session. Leclerc wouldn't set a time in Q2 as well as Latifi, and would see Vettel get impeded on his lap and miss out by 500ths, as well as an interrupted Gasly getting knocked out with Tsunoda. The first runs of Q3 would take place on inters, getting close to the crossover to slicks, and Hamilton would be on provisional pole. The second runs would see the softs come out, even though Hamilton hit the wall coming into the pits with inters. Norris would score pole with an incredible 141.993, followed by Sainz and Russell. Hamilton would spin, but his first lap still good enough for 4th, followed by Ricciardo, Alonso, Bottas, Stroll, Perez, and Ocon. This would be Norris's first career pole and the longest in some time for McLaren. It's Sunday now, it's race day and rain is in the forecast, but dry at the start with weather threatening just minutes out. Lights out and Lando gets the jump, but pole in Russia feels like a sitting duck with the slipstream on the straightaway having massive advantages at the start. While Sainz throws the block on Hamilton, forcing Mercedes to lift, he tucks in behind Norris and gets a great tow and goes around the outside, grabbing the lead, and Hamilton falls back to 6th. On lap 6, as Leclerc is already up to 12th, Verstappen makes his move around Bottas in the 14th as he quickly disposes of the second Merc in the second DRS zone. On lap 10, Max would get around Leclerc, who would try and pass Vettel to no avail and set his sights further forward before getting stuck in the DRS train. On lap 13, Norris would get back around Sainz, with the Ferrari now struggling with the tire management on the mediums and the lack of top-end speed. As pit stops are underway, Hamilton and Verstappen both pit on lap 27, trying to shadow the strategies and keep the battle close. Unfortunately, Verstappen would be stuck in a bit more traffic, with Hamilton having an easier time overtaking, and Verstappen dealing with the later pitting guys attacking on fresher tires. After the pit stops, the race win is looking to be between Norris and the charging Hamilton, but looks to be in favor of the straight-line happy McLaren. On lap 47, the rain comes, and the gap up front tightens as well as the two Aston Martins come together, with Stroll not seeing Vettel. As Norris declines pitting for inters, Stroll also hits Gasly, spinning him around, and loses it himself as Hamilton is pitted for the inters and is chasing down the struggling McLaren as the rain gets heavier. On lap 51, Hamilton takes the lead as Norris locks up and can't tippy-toe around any longer, and the heartbreak sets in as the wrong decision was made by the British driver, then missing the pit lane for his stop with a reprimand after being summoned by the stewards. Hamilton will go on to win his 100th GP, with Verstappen making late moves into second from last, pretty much a dream scenario for him and Red Bull after the power unit change, and a great podium for Carlos Sainz and the Ferrari after their earlier tire struggles. Ricciardo would be 4th, followed by Bottas, Alonso, Norris, Raikkonen back from his COVID time, Perez, and again Russell in the points. Norris would get the fastest lap point as well during the dry running with the pace to spare at the time. After the smoke clears, Hamilton takes the championship lead back by 2 points from Verstappen, But considering Lewis will more than likely have to take his own fourth engine at some point, this is pretty much a win for Max, and the best damage limitation they could have imagined. Bottas stays third, even though it looked like Lando looked primed to take the victory and be back in third in the standings. Perez is still fifth, with Carlos moving up to sixth ahead of Leclerc, Ricciardo, Gasly, and Alonso. In the Constructors, Mercedes now pulls out to a 33-point lead ahead of Red Bull, McLaren now 17.5 ahead of Ferrari for third, and Alpine furthering themselves in the midfield ahead of AlphaTauri and Aston Martin. Williams gets further away from Alpha, and the scoreless Haas, a massive improvement from years prior, really showcasing how far they've come and how much Russell has to do with the team. So what do I think of it all? Well, Norris's disappointment and bad decision to stay out really sticks here. Shows the inexperience, the way he was on the radio. They were pretty much saying, hey, maybe you should probably come in. And he's like, no, leave me to it. And it pretty much fucked him. Hamilton's 100th GP win. I don't know, what can you say? The Mercedes years just kind of really racked up the victories, and the longer seasons, I guess you could say, kind of helped him get there faster. How would Schumacher have done if, the seasons were 22 races long back in the 90s and stuff? I think we might be having a different conversation there, as well as even Senna, if he lived. Max's dream scenario, finishing second, the damage limitation in the title battle. This is, when you think about Italy and Russia being two places that the Red Bull would really struggle compared to the Mercedes, they have barely lost anything in the driver's title, even though the constructors might have spread out a little bit in favor of Mercedes. But I think all in all here, going into some races that really favor the Red Bull now, a new engine, hopefully the Honda reliability is an issue, but then again, we're also seeing that Mercedes reliability concerns have been an issue, so not really sure where that's going. The Bottas engine change decision, that's kind of interesting that 2 times in a row they would go to change. And it seems like more of a strategy thing, because in Italy it's like, all right, he's fast, but let's keep him out of Hamilton's way now that we pretty much booted him from the team. Oh no, in Russia, Max is going to start at the back. Let's throw Bottas back there again and try to see if we can get him in the way of Max. The battle for third with McLaren and Ferrari. It seemed like 1985 that we had a McLaren, Ferrari, and Williams at the front. It seems to me that McLaren is more or less fighting for third in the battle with Ferrari, and Ferrari is more focused on just getting back to the top of the heap. It's just kind of interesting how both teams are going about it, and, McLaren will find a victory in beating Ferrari this year for third if that happens, versus if Ferrari finishes third, they could give two shits and just really want to get back to the title battle. And finally, a good Russian GP. Over the years, it's been kind of lackluster. 2019 wasn't too bad, other than the issues the Ferraris had. But it's been a Mercedes-dominated track, and it's a shame. I really like this track. Similar to me like Baku, just with the 90-degree corners and just those tight angled corners. I really love the feel of this track. And before you complain about the game here only finishing third or whatever, I had some damage to my side pods, so, relax about it. The title battle goes forward. Maybe Hamilton's engine penalties later in the year. It's going to swing back and forth. I don't know if you could really pick a favorite right now, because once it gets down to those last few races, what happens if it gets down to Abu Dhabi? Max has never had that pressure of a title fight on his hands, so we're not really sure how he's going to handle it. And Hamilton, he's been there how many times before? As much as I don't like the guy and his bullshit vegan lifestyle, the guy's got the experience of how many title fights on the winning and losing ends. It was pretty sweet, though, to see him lose it in 2016. I will say that. So next up, we got the Turkish GP 2 weeks out. Who does that favor? I kind of got to lean with Red Bull on that one, but who knows? We'll see. Hopefully we just get another race like last year. Maybe Lance Stroll make an appearance back on pole. You never know. Until next time, have a good week off, and I'll see you in Turkey. Been the Game Bro. Good night.